It's been a year since the conflict between Palestine and Israel started, and there has been not a resolution. Today, we're gonna be talking about what happened, what's going on between these two countries, and more.
The situation in the Gaza Strip is particularly dire, with an Israeli blockade causing a humanitarian crisis. The lack of electricity, water, and food has severely impacted the civilian population. Additionally, Israeli forces have conducted incursions into the West Bank, resulting in Palestinian casualties and displacement.
So both sides have been accused of human rights abuses. Palestinian militant groups have launched rockets against Israeli civilians, while Israeli forces have used excessive force against Palestinians. Arbitrary detention of Palestinians and home demolitions have also been reported.
But first of all, we need to talk about the history of this conflict. According to the BBC News, Israel didn't exist before 1948. The British people took control of the area known as Palestine, following the defeat of the Ottoman Empire, which ruled that part of the Middle East in World War One.
The land was invaded by a Jewish minority and Arab majority, as well as other, smaller ethnic groups. Tensions between the two peoples grew when the international community gave the UK the task of establishing a national home in Palestine for Jewish people. This stemmed from the Balfour Declaration of 1997, um, a pledge made by the Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour of Britain's Jewish community. This stemmed from the Balfour Declaration of 1917, a pledge made by the Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Britain's Jewish community.
How and why was Israel created? In 1948, unable to solve the problem, Britain withdrew and Jewish leaders declared the creation of the State of Israel. It was intended to be a safe haven for Jews, fleeing persecution as well as a national homeland for Jews. Fighting between Jewish and Arab militias had been intensifying for months, and the day after Israel declared statehood, 5 Arab countries attacked.
Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians fled or were forced out of their homes in what they call Al-Nakba, or the catastrophe. By the time the fighting ended in a ceasefire the following year, Israel controlled most of the territory, being 73.6% Jews, 21.1% Arabs, and 5.3% others.
Now let's talk about what is the Gaza Strip. Gaza is a narrow strip of land sandwiched between Israel and the Mediterranean Sea, with a short southern border with Egypt. Just 41 kilometers long and 10 kilometers wide, it has more than 2 million inhabitants and is one of the most densely populated places on earth. Israel occupied Gaza in the 1967 war and stayed until 2005. During that time, building Jewish settlements. Israel withdrew its troops and settled in 2005, though it retained control over its airspace, starboard and shoreline. The UN still considers that the territory to be occupied by Israel.
What are the main problems between Israelis and Palestinians? There are a number of issues which the two sides cannot agree on. These include what should happen to Palestinian refugees, whether Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank should stay or be removed, whether the two sides should share Jerusalem, and perhaps most tricky of all, whether a Palestinian state should be created alongside Israel.
But now we need to understand why they are fighting right now. Gaza is ruled by Hamas, an Islamist group which is committed to the destruction of Israel and is designated as a terrorist group by the UK and many other countries. Hamas won Palestinians' last elections in 2006 and seized control of Gaza the following year by ousting the rebel Fatah movement of West Bank-based President Mahmoud Abbas. Since then, militants in Gaza have fought several wars with Israel, which along with Egypt has maintained a partial blockade on the Strip to isolate Hamas and try to stop attacks, particularly the indiscriminate firing of rockets toward Israel cities.
Palestinians in Gaza say Israel's restrictions and its airstrikes on heavily populated areas amount to collective punishment. This year has been the deadliest on record for Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. The UN says Palestinians also complain of the restrictions and military actions being carried out. There is no response to deadly attacks on Israel. These tensions could have been one of the reasons for Hamas' latest attack. But the militants may also have been seeking to boost their popularity among ordinary Palestinians, including by using hostages to pressure Israel to free some of the estimated 4,500 Palestinians held in its prisons.
Since the conflict started, the world has divided into two sides. There's people who support Israel and there's people who support Palestine. If you support Israel, you're called a Zionist. But no matter in which side you are gonna be like criticized. For example, there's a few celebrities that have shared their opinion about this situation. For example, this actress Jamie Lee Curtis, she shared a post on Instagram about the situation, and she was pro-Israel, and she got cancelled on social media just for that. And there's another actress from a movie. I think Scream is the name of the movie. She pronounced her as pro-Palestine, and she got fired from the movie just for support Palestine. So it's definitely been a war.
So I personally think that there is no good sides in this war, because from one side of Israel, you can see that they are just like, well, they're just too much for Palestine, and by the side of Palestine, they're not they're not trying to find a solution to this war. It's been, well, that I know, it's been like a treatment that they refuse to sign because who knows, maybe their beliefs or something. And well, yeah, they're just way too pride of their religion and everything, so they wouldn't like to find a solution that makes them like, you know, that makes them seem like the defeated ones.
I think the same, that there are no good sides. They should make a solution that should not include the war and kills, because they are just killing people that is innocent.
Thank you for joining us in this week's episode, and I hope you understand a little bit more about what's going on between these two countries. Thank you.